weather, like some wind blowing it, or?
Erosion, right. What else? It has access to all the water, all the nutrients and the minerals that it needs all the way down instead of trying to find it in this little top right here. It goes way, 3 times the depth of that and can get all the nutrients that it needs without us having to feed it. Now, we cannot grow the flower here, but we can certainly get it and use it, and we do. And our kitchen staff right now, bakers, they are working on creating a crust for seasonal quiche and also making Kernza cookies that are so delicious. And anything else that we can make with Kernza flour, because we want people to know about it so that they use it. This right here is the annual grain, and look how shallow that root is. So if you're growing a grain and you're growing it organically, you're growing a grain and you're growing it organically, but you're going to sell it to this man over here. He's going to take the grains and he's going to immediately mill it. And it's on the shelf to sell. And it has to go on the shelf to sell because it has never been processed. It's organic, it's fresher, it will not have a long shelf life. The grain that you're growing is organic, and you're going to sell it to this man, and he doesn't mill it right off, he's going to dehydrate it. He's going to flood it with water. He's going to heat it with such intense heat that it hardens everything. And then he's going to process it, turn it into flour. It's still organic, but it's been processed. And it'll stay on the shelf for, 2 years. This will stay on the shelf for maybe 6 weeks. So if you know people that have traveled to Europe and they all talk about their food experience, most of them say that they travel through and they eat all the bread, all the pasta, all the this, all the croissants, everything, and they never have an issue with it. And then they get back here and then they have all sorts of issues. So we think, our chef thinks, that it's, and I agree with him, that it is the processing that's hard on our bellies. So that's part of why we want people to do this. The other reason why we want people to do this, to use Kernza grain, because we're not so dependent on rain, because there's the water table in the ground already. It helps with soil erosion, but mainly we do not have to disturb the soil 3 or 4 times a year to plant a new crop. We just plant it, we prepare the soil and we plant it, and we take care of and harvest it. We take care and harvest and take care and harvest. We're never disturbing the soil. So, guess what? Everything that we plant, every time we pull if we were to pull either of these out of the ground, we're pulling nutrients out of the soil, which means we have to feed it again. So, we feed it with a compost tea that we make, and we make it every day. And the compost tea has water, which it needs. It has blackstrap molasses, which is a sweetener and great for the soil, it's a carb. And then we feed it fish emulsion and kelp. And then how many of you know what sourdough bread is? Do y'all know what sourdough bread is? Okay, so we use a handful of mature compost as the sourdough starter. So it's the starter of all the microbes in the compost tea. And I'll show you, when we get over here, I'll show you the tea brewer. And it's nothing but a big vessel that has a circulating pump in it, and the water's going around and around and around and around. And if you look inside it, you see a funnel that goes all the way down from the top all the way down to the bottom. And we want that kind of activity in the water because that is what is agitating the microbes, feeding it the blackstrap molasses so those microbes explode. I mean, they just intensify, they multiply. Those microbes live in soil blocks. And every time we come in and till deeply in the soil, we're breaking up the soil blocks. microbes die. That's not what we want. We want to keep those microbes, those soil blocks, intact so that the microbes live inside there. So we have a tool called a broad fork. We have one that's about a foot and another one that's 3 feet. And it's all it is. It has 2 handles and it has like an axle, and then it's got 6 tines that go down into the ground about a foot. And you just step on it until that tool gets all the way down in the ground, and then you pull back on the handles and you can see the soil coming up in blocks. But all it's doing is lifting it and kind of loosening it up a little bit around it so that any fresh compost or any fresh seeds or anything that we put in there can still percolate down to the bottom. So we are beginning our 2nd year with Regenified certification. I don't really care about the certification as much as I do us knowing what the practices are so that we can teach people that come. And people come here all the time, and I hear all of them saying, I've taken 6 classes, I've taken a dozen classes on gardening and on farming and on germinating and on planting and getting seedlings started. And they say, I still don't know how to do it. But have they ever been out trying it? No, they're reading about it in a book. So on Mondays, we have a farm school, and they're for 3 to 8-year-olds. And it's full. And we require that a parent be here with every child. Not because we want the parents really there with the children. We just want the parent close by if there's an issue. And so they some of them come and bring their computers and they sit in the gathering hall and they work, but we know where to find them. But most of them follow us around. And many of the parents said, I will send my 3 kids, my 2 kids, as long as I can see them every moment while they're there. And I said, you can see them every moment while they're there if you want to follow us around, because we're not sitting in one place. And so many of those parents are right there with us. And they're like, nobody taught me how to make a tortilla when I was 6 or 7 years old, and nobody taught me how to make jam. Nobody taught me how to make biscuits, and nobody taught me how to make sauces. And so the parents are there asking as many questions or even more questions than the kids are. So we have decided to do an adult farm school. So we're going to do that as well, which could be kin to your permaculture class. And they're actually going to do their training here. But so many of the people taking the class said, I've got kids, I've got this, I've got that, I can't be away from home, and we really don't want to drive that much. So they're not doing it here, they're doing it in town. But anyway, so we have a very close alliance with Urban Harvest. Anyway, so that's what I can tell you about perennials and why we believe so wholeheartedly in Kerns of Grain. The straw bale house, I think, is a really, really interesting structure. So people want to know how the cost of it varies with other more conventional style of building. And it's going to be the same, if not maybe even a little bit more, because it's incredibly labor intensive. Incredibly labor intensive. I mean, you two would have to work together the whole entire time, lifting the bale and putting it over, because these same posts, these 4x6 posts, these 4x6 posts are mimicked in this wall. And then every 2 feet between these, there is a rebar. And that rebar is in the floor, and it goes all the way up the top plate. And then there is a board at the top with some big washers on it and some nuts that go on top of that to skewer this top board down so that this wall is just as sturdy as it could possibly be. And if there's a tornado or a hurricane or whatever coming through, that's where I want to be, is inside there. Anyway, so does anybody have any questions so far? And I'd love for this to be, ask questions, don't wait till the very end, because you'll forget it, or I'll forget it. So any questions, we're going to go through the house so you can see how it was built. So if you came here with a corporate group, a school, whoever. And we work a lot with schools, and when they come, we can't take the public schools. And we've tried, but when they come, they bring the 5th grade class.
Yeah.
The 5th grade class has 500 students in it.
Wow.
And, I mean, and that's not learning.
Yeah.
They just get out of the bus and then they're wild, and
Yeah.
there's no way to capture their attention at all. So we work with much smaller groups, so master gardeners come out, master naturalists come out, lots and lots of gardening groups come out, engineering groups come out, Montessori's are here, Waldorf schools are here, lots of other private schools are here. We do school without walls for some of the schools, and I mean, we're just as busy as we could possibly be. Yes, sir.
You can go ahead and finish your thought. I got a question for you, though.
Yesterday, so we're here, and we have 33 acres. 10 acres from those trees all the way to the front and going that way north is under production of some sort. The other 23 acres, it's all woods. And we believe that that's part of our success, is because of all the trees. So when the Regenified people were here last Monday, he turned on his little Merlin app. We're the smallest farm. We're 33 acres. The next farm that they work with is 500 acres.
Wow.
So there's a huge difference. So what is the largest organ in your body? Your
Intestines.
skin.
So,
That's an edge, right? Do you know about edges? Not yet? So edges, that's where all the magic takes place. Where's your husband? Where's your husband? Right there. Okay. So when you guys touch each other, magic happens. Okay? And so we want as many edges as we could possibly have. And I used to think that I wanted this place to be 1,000 acres big until I realized about edges. So you're driving down the freeway and you see how lush and green it is on the side of the road. And it's like, oh, I just want to stop. I want to go hike through the woods. Well, you get out and you stop and you start your hike. And the first 20, 30 feet, it is lush and green. And then all of a sudden it's not. Because you're not on the edge anymore. The edge is at the top of the canopy. And so that taught me that if it gets too big, then the interior of it dies, or it's not as alive as the edge is. So I started thinking that I don't want to be that big. I want you to have a farm, and you to have a farm, and you to have a farm, so that all of our edges can touch each other constantly, and you just get those sparks of life and energy going. So that was a huge aha moment for me. So we are 33 acres here big. So when he was here, the certifier, he turned on his Merlin app, and he clocked 12 different birds. When he's on these 500 acres, he might get 3 or 4. He also clocked, I think he's 8 or 9 different varieties of plants. And when he's on these larger farms, there's 3 or 4. And we want as much diversity as we can possibly get. Anyway, so on Thursday, we were at the Sky Farm. We have a 1 acre farm on the roof of Post Houston, downtown. 1 foot of soil, and we're able to grow food. It's amazing. So we did a conference there at the Post with a company out of Canada, and it was called Gray to Green, because they are pushing turning as many. And now in Canada, there's a law. You cannot put up a new building unless it has a green roof. But imagine all of the benefits of that. Is there shade on the roof? If you're planting trees and all that. I mean, it may not be shade that protects you, but it's shade that protects all those other plants, down on the bottom. And it protects the roof, so it holds in water, it holds in moisture. It keeps the sun from hitting the soil, which causes the seeds to germinate. I mean, there's so many benefits to that. It helps with the insulation. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Plus the healing methodology that comes just from being in a green environment.
And the oxygen.
Huh?
And the oxygen.
Exactly. So I was in the hospital with somebody a couple of months ago, and on the back walls in one of the waiting rooms, they had, I don't know how, maybe they were 6 feet wide and they were from floor to ceiling, but there were images of a trail walking through the woods, or the ocean rolling over onto the sand with all the seashells. Or, I mean, it just went on, but they were all outside and they were alive. Mm-hmm. And that's better than nothing. You know, if you can't go outside, at least you can watch it. So we did that on Thursday. Then we're at Urban Harvest this morning. We're here with you this afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be in downtown Houston again with Chefs for Farmers Festival. And I'll be there with that. And then on Monday, we have farm school. And then on Friday, we have a group of 50 homeschoolers coming with, I don't know if they're bringing one parent or two, but that's potentially 150 people here. And then we start all over again, Saturday at Urban Harvest, here in the afternoon. So I just asked these lovely people, how did you hear about us?
We, Eventbrite.
Eventbrite?
Yeah.
Okay, but what made you look?
We were looking for something to do this weekend.
Okay, where do you live?
College Station. Oh, Brian.
Oh, right, okay. And where do you live? Oh, you live in Dallas.
We're
North Texas.
30 miles north of
Right.
Dallas.
So I asked them, and they've already given me an answer, and I ask you, how do we let people know? I mean, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We've been here for 40 years. We're not rolling up our sleeves and leaving and going somewhere else. We are here. So how do we let people know in Bryan College Station that we're here and come out and visit us? They can tell you, they stayed in one of our cabins last night, through Airbnb, and tell me about your dinner.
Wonderful. We've never done that, where we had Chef Kate cook for us, and
What did he make?
he made halibut, Alaskan halibut, and he made. You can probably give more detail to. He had the what was the squash called?
It was a butternut cup squash.
A little squash. I've never seen that.
It
small
had
squash.
same basically.
Everything grown from
It was
here.
slightly more fruity flavor than the regular butternut squash, but it was amazing. It was
A
more
salad.
more of a pumpkin flavor.
A salad that looked like artwork when he was finished.
He had the heart of romaine, and then he, of course, glazed it with olive oil, and he put dried
Lemon.
sun tomatoes on it, chives and onions, and then he had some seasoning things he puts on it.
cooked
But
the crispy
it
mushrooms
was.
over the.
I made a
fish.
meal out of the lettuce.
What was the mushroom? Do you remember?
It wasn't shiitake. It was sorrel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we had a really interesting flavor. Like, flavor is not your traditional restaurant commercial flavor. It was like every bite was full of flavor and really delicious, and a lot of it grown from here, or most of it grown from here. So he's
And if
very
it wasn't
excited.
grown here, it was a quarter of a mile away. There's 2 other farms that we partner with all the time, and we
But
get-
that's what's important.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. If I could get his attention, I would call him over here.
I can
Anyway.
whistle.
Huh?
I can whistle.
Whistle.
She's better at it than I am.
He's busy, I think.
Laura? Laura, is Kay there? Yes. Can you ask him to come here?
So if you could answer my question while he's working his way over here, you kind of glossed over the transition between your 20 years of construction into this, and didn't really tell us the mindset that you got, because it didn't happen overnight. You didn't walk away from construction and just start this the next day. What was your mindset to get to this point?
I was pregnant.
Well, that'll work every time.
Yeah, I was
Had a baby.
pregnant. I was pregnant, and it was critical to me that this child be ecologically literate.
Very good
And I
answer.
started working on that immediately.
Very good answer.
Immediately. So
Here you
this-
go. I told you I'd get you on camera.
So this is Cade, and Cade is our partner, my partner in managing and growing this whole facility. And although he started a lot later than I did, he's kind of married himself to it and is doing a phenomenal job. And I was telling them that, asking them all, how do we let the rest of the world know that we're here? So they are from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they're from Bryan College Station, and they're from Cypress. And so they've given one answer. I'd love to know from you, and from you, how do we do this? So you're going to help with your YouTube.
I'd say social networking is a big
Yeah,
one right now,
YouTube,
because it's basically this age word of mouth. You know, a neighbor to neighbor over the fence can say, you need to go down here to this hardware store, but you're reaching.
Yeah.
In fact, we were at a cardiologist day before yesterday, and he was so amazing. I told him, well, you need your own YouTube channel. And he said, yeah, I've been told that. I said, but, and this was our leaving statement to him was, well, you know, you can reach 18 patients a day, or you can reach 1,800 in 1 hour. I said, and you're all about helping the people. He says, you got me on that. He said, okay, I'm going to start.
Yeah.
but you could also do that yourself, is have yourself on a learning YouTube that you can
Yes. Yes.
grow.
Anyway, I want you to meet Cade and ask him all the questions that you want, because he prepared dinner for these folks last night. And
It was amazing.
You need him to prepare dinner for
Did you
you.
fix lunch today?
yes.
It was great. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
he's
So
amazing.
next Friday night, we have a gathered table dinner that will be here in the evening. And that's open to the public, and come and join us. And then on November the 13th, and he's preparing the food for October 13th. And then at the Post on November the 13th, we're doing a luncheon there that's our fundraiser, because we're a nonprofit teaching farm.
October 13th.
No, October 3rd is gathered table, November 13th is the luncheon.
You said October.
I'm sorry, I did not mean October. I meant I'm sure panicked when he did that. It's like, whoops, I don't know that.
Something that is amazing too, when he was preparing, he described everything that he was preparing, where, you know, how it grew, whatever, and then the
He was
spices-
teaching while he was
the
cooking.
spices that went into everything. So we knew what we were eating one way or the other. It was very well described, and you could taste every flavor.
Well, she's mentioned tasting many times. He has got the corner market on flavor and taste.
Yes.
It's amazing. So please come and enjoy. So if anybody has any questions of him, please ask. Or if you have anything you'd like to say, please speak.
Our gathered table dinner on the 3rd is 5 courses, and it's all family style. So we either have it here on the porch, or we have it inside the house, and we'll kind of retrofit it to have everyone. It's 5 courses, and it's a part of kind of just celebrating a season. The idea is to have it seasonally, except for summer, which is 1, way too hot, as you'll know already, and 2, we have our summer camp, and that pretty much dominates everyone's time for that 8-week period. We also have a supper club, which is 7 to 10 courses, and it's in celebration of one particular produce item. So every course has one of that one item in it somehow. And that's either myself or a guest chef from somewhere here in Texas or anywhere around the country. I do retreats off-site sometimes. Been to Big Bend, up north, North Carolina, Spain. And I meet chefs while I'm out doing those things, and then we bring them out to come see us, and they are a part of those supper clubs and the dinners that we do. So that collaboration has been a really great addition to my job here, and I like collaboration. As you might imagine, working out here, it is beautiful, but it can be isolating. But in connecting with people in that way, also very much with social networking, it kind of opens up the whole world. One of the things I was telling them last night is that I had come from a professional background of hotels and country clubs, which I'll never do again. When I got into fine dining, and that was my jam for sure. I loved every minute of it. I was in baking pastry and culinary going through school, and I found out that I had to be one or the other as I got into the actual industry. And I didn't like that because I went to school for both. And then as I got out of that attitude right out of school of I can do everything all the time, always, instead of burning out, I kind of bent the knee and realized I have to focus on pastry now, then I'm going to focus on savory. And as I got into that world, I realized that they really talk to each other, but you have to have a very different mindset for both. Another interesting aspect of what happened when I came out here, working in fine dining, you think you get all the best of the best produce that you can get, which, not to say that it isn't good, but if you're getting it from right out of the ground,
Organic.
the flavor profile is order of magnitude different. So my palate had to essentially just forget everything and re-educate, which was a new fun complication. And I certainly don't back down from challenges. Doing something with Carnza has been really great. Learning how grains work, was feeding into that baking and pastry background, and then adding that into other things that are savory and sweet, figuring out how it all works together. I also, as we started education, folding myself into what we do here already, which is educate children. I'm not going to say I had to dumb down what I was teaching, but I had to have a much better grasp on what I knew, because I've been basically back of house for 20 years, and I'm having that connection with people that I'll say the average Joe. I didn't know what I did, and my knowledge base was broader than I realized. And so I had to funnel in what I was teaching for every little thing, which was great because I can talk people's heads off about one little subject all day. But it also means that the education I can give to even folks while I'm cooking dinner is far and wide. So it is really, really great.
Hi, this is Anna. And Anna is our baker. And Anna is the one that has all the experience with the kernza grains. So if you have questions, if you like to bake, she's the person to ask.
Awesome.
It's been great. It's been a challenge.
She was baking like crazy last night.
Especially with, we're trying to develop a sourdough recipe. And so sourdough and yeast recipes with this only is impossible. Like, it can't be done unless you compromise and add things like extra protein to give it structure. But we really want to create something that's very artisan and wholesome, if you will. But I think we nailed it.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
It's getting better. Every day it's getting better.
And then the cookies so far that we've made is delicious. We've been successful with the pie crust also.
And beautiful.
Yes.
And so tasty. Like with the pie crust, I couldn't stop eating it. I was just like, just eating it by itself because
And that's a talent.
the flavor of the grain itself, it's so unique to what I've used compared to like the other heirloom variety of wheat grains and whatnot. It's so unique. It's so tasty. It's delicious. So yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to learn about this incredible grain. It's so cool.
What's the name of the brand again? Kernza, Kernza. Kernza, yes. So please help us get the word out, or tell us how to do it, and we will do whatever you say. Okay.
And we
so-
have our cookies available. So if you wanna try them, we are selling them today. So.
Outside of having to re-educate palates on how food tastes, it's been a really great platform for people like Wes Jackson and the Bain Institute in Kansas to be able to work with them and figure out how these grains that they're bringing back to the market, how it's actually going to be utilized and kind of bridge that gap. Because you could say all day, we're making a grain, we put it in the bag, you guys figure it out. But if we can help facilitate what's going to happen with it and then how to troubleshoot all the issues that could come up later on, it's hopefully gonna encourage the rest of the market to buy that grain, and then they have kind of a cheat sheet because of the work that we're doing here. And that will help facilitate utilizing Kernza across the country, if not the world. But doing stuff like that, helping them bring it to the public, much like what we're doing here, is super important because of the benefit to the environment and to the people that come and use it.
So it just dawned on me that you and Anna need to write what your experience is with the bread to send to the Lane Institute.
Like a testimony.
Huh?
Like a testimony of, or a journaling.
Yeah, whatever it is, whatever it is. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, do you know how long it took the Wright brothers who created the airplane, do you know how long it took them from having the idea of flying to people being able to buy a ticket and fly? How long did it take?
I have no idea.
20 years, maybe?
50. It took 50 years. And they're on about 53 with the Kernza. And when they started years and years and years ago, they thought, surely it's not going to take us that long. And it's out. I mean, there are people making, I mean, there's a couple of restaurants in California that this is all they're using. You know, it's a pancake house, a waffle house, a biscuit house. They're making beers with it. I mean, they're making cereals. You can buy off the shelf right now, I don't know about all grocery stores, but many grocery stores you can buy Kernza cereal. Anyway, we are all working, you know, as smart and as intelligently as we possibly can to help shorten that window to get it out there. So let's go through the house. Thank you so much. I want to give you thank you. Thanks, hon.
Want some water, honey? Let me get over here.
Oh, I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you were coming here,
Tell us what your drink is real quick.
mint lime lemonade.
Very nice.
Mint lemonade. Yes. With flat water and sparkling water both. So if you were going to come here and you were going to stay here.
I would have learned, because I actually don't know the full story.
Okay, great. Well, you missed a huge big part of it about the Strawville House and the Kernza grains, but you know about the Kernza grains, right? So if you were going to come here with whoever, a group of women or people doing yoga, or a women's retreat, or a Bible study group, or a corporate group, whoever you are, if you wanted to prepare your own food, this is where you would cook. All meals are taken on the porch. And remember I said about the man that said I would never come here because of what I had described, which is a wooden barn? He said you need beauty. Beauty, beauty, beauty everywhere. So this is the byproduct of that when he said beauty. So chefs come in here like Anna and like Nani and like Kate and lots of other chefs. They either come here or the other kitchen that you'll see soon. And this is where everybody that's not a chef cooks. And we have china, and we have glasses, and we have cloth napkins. Everything gets washed and reused. And that means that I'm standing here washing dishes with a person next to me, and we get to talk about our cousins and our relatives and what our favorite Christmas memories are, or whatever it is. And some schools want to do some of their own cooking, but then they want our kitchen to do the rest of it. So they do cooking classes, you know, mid-morning that becomes lunch for the whole entire crew. So we're going to go in here. So feel the walls as you walk by. Feel how cool it is.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
So this
Holy.
is Calamity.
Beautiful.
So, what happens to hot air? It goes up. You can see light. You can see the sky up there because that's open. Because any of the hot air that's collected in the room, we want to go out of the roof. So the roof section goes like this, but then there's another a little tiny roof over that to keep rain from coming in. But that's open and you can see the air. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay, great. So this on the ceiling is shredded newspaper, and it's shredded newspaper that's been soaked in boric acid. Boric acid comes from chrysanthemum flowers. It makes it insect retardant, repellent, fire retardant, as well as an insulator. And it looks soft, but it's hard. And it's mixed with water-based glue, and then it's blown on. And after the walls went up and you saw the straw bale structure outside, one of the very first houses that I did here in Texas, I put gunite on it for the first time of anybody, because if you used any sort of stucco to go on the walls, it would wash away. And so I put gunite on it, which is what you use for making swimming pools. So there was a truck that came out, 23 people, 2 people, 1 person mixing, 2 people mixing up the whole barrel, 2 people spraying it on, a couple of people behind them doing a cursory job of spreading it out loosely. A lot of that stuff dropping to the ground. They put it in a wheelbarrow and take it out and put it in a pothole. And then another 2 people coming behind them doing the final job. So what you see behind you is the final job that they did of a more artistic way, using like a putty knife, you know, to smooth it out. And then 2 people coming behind them with a wheelbarrow and moving it all out. And so I called, I reached out to everybody saying, you know, we need somebody to fix a cover or to do something, kind of a skin on the walls. Well, we got all sorts of people calling and saying that they wanted to try this. Well, the one person I let come and try was a wallpaper spreader. And he came and I don't know what he was using, but it took him 3 days to do that section right there, just on the outside. He didn't even come to the inside, it took so long. But the gunite people, they came at 7 o'clock one morning. They started that door, they went around the outside, they stepped inside, went around the inside. They were gone by 2. And it took, I don't know, a week or so for the gunite to go from being kind of a mossy, dark, muddy green to a concrete color. And then we painted it. So there's a woman that's on our board and has been on board for a long time, but she was head of the code department in Houston. And I begged her every year, please let me build a little straw bale building in the city so the city could use it to create code with, so that other people could do straw bale in the city. And she just did not trust it because she was always concerned about the humidity. But this has been here since 1996. That's when we broke ground, and we bought all the straw, all from the same season, the same person, the same mower, the same everything. It's all oats. And we had to bring all the straw in, and we packed it, and it went all the way to the ceiling, because here we have to put the roof on, and then bring all the straw in, and then put up all the walls. But in a more arid area, you wouldn't have to put up the roof, because you know it's not going to rain. So you could just bring it all in, stack it up, and then start building your walls, and then put your roof on. But we had to do it backwards here. It's not backwards, it's just the way it has to be done here in order to protect everything. So what else can I tell you? Are there any questions? Yes?
How did you keep the bales from flopping down and falling?
Let me go get this piece.
Oh, okay.
Chicken wire.
Here's the rebar.
Huh?
Here's the rebar.
Yeah, rebar, chicken wire.
You have the same stuff, the walls are the same size? So this right here, the walls, those 4x6 posts that are on the porch out there, those are mimicked in the walls that go all the way around. And then every 2 feet, there's a piece of rebar that's in the foundation that goes all the way up, but they come in 3-foot sections. So it comes up this tall, you put down one bale, you put on a coupler, you put on another stick, and then you keep on going until you get to the very top.
The foundation, what is it like?
This is the foundation. This
So
floor.
it's like slab?
Yes, it's a
Is
slab.
it one?
It's a
complete
slab, but there's a,
building?
yeah, there's a channel that's 4 feet deep and 2 feet wide, all the way around the whole entire thing, and then it also cuts through the middle. Yes, so that's the foundation. So, if you stand back, you can look at the walls and see that they're not, symmetrical. So I don't care if it's 10 feet here and 8 feet over here, but some people do. And if you cared about that, it being really symmetrical, then you might have to cut every single solitary bale. You have to cut every course anyway, but if you could cut it where the doors are, the windows are, that would be helpful. Anyway, so what other questions do you have? No questions? Okay.
Price.
Price, okay,
Yeah,
the price
what's your
is
price?
similar, it's similar to any other type of construction. This one might be a little more initially, but long-term it's less.
And obviously you have a 2-story home, so that's okay, building 2-story homes. With
Well,
this system, with this
no.
approach, no?
So,
Okay.
no, they do not, engineers do not recommend that you build any higher than 11 feet. And so we went up 11 feet, it stops there
Okay.
for us, but above that, it's all stick framing above that, and traditional sheetrock. So if I built this a year later, we would have put, Stromit on the walls rather than sheetrock, and Stromit is the last part of the wheat plant, or the grain that goes into the ground. You're coppicing that last 6 inches, and you put it in a frame that's 3 inches deep and 4 by 8, like a piece of sheetrock would be, or a piece of plywood would be. And once you put it in that frame and you heat it, the gluten that's in the base of the plant melts and permeates the whole frame. And then when it cools, you've got a hard board. And so you need less 2x4 frames. So any other questions? Okay, so let's go this way. It obviously is a very usable mudroom. Anna would love this because she's got lots of kids.
Do have lots of
Yes,
kids.
And you have brothers and sisters
Yes,
too. Yeah.
yes.
So we got 2 big families there, and I come from a big family. But this room, this is a mud room. It's very active. It gets heavily used. There's a water faucet in the wall. You hook a hose up to it. You squirt down all the floors, and then you squeegee all the water into this gutter. It's very shallow here, and it gets deeper as it goes all the way around, and then it dumps out here and keeps this bed out here watered.
So cool.
And so there's lots of details like that. So the lady that is the head of the code department, she's concerned about mold and mildew, as she should be with this kind of humidity here. But if you know all the tricks to use so that you don't have trapped moisture anywhere, so we used an elastomeric paint on the inside that is not porous. So it cannot absorb moistures from the kitchen or the bathrooms or wherever, or from the air conditioning. On the outside, we used a water-based paint so that if a bug died in there, or if some sort of moisture got stuck in the wall, it can breathe out of the outside wall.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So I think it's fascinating too. I just absolutely love it.
Anything special at the joint between the wall and the floor? For
Well,
waterproofing?
in all of the other
Great
houses-
question.
Yeah. In all the other houses that I built, I put up a vapor barrier in the bathrooms. And actually around the whole, I don't have a sample with me, but if you've got a bale here and you've got a bale here, you take piece of plastic, and it starts on the bottom, on the foundation, and it goes up on the outside, 2 bales, and in halfway. Or it can go all the way around the top one and just come in between the bottom one and the next one halfway, so that anything could snake out of there. Moisture. If moisture gets stuck in there, it can still snake out.
Wow.
So I did not put, I'm afraid of moisture here. So I did not put a vapor barrier up anywhere. I did put boric acid, which is, boride powder, all the way around the whole entire inside. The whole exterior walls. We don't eat food in the house. We do, but we clean up vigorously every day. But we don't eat here in the living room. We eat outside or in the kitchen, and that's it. Because we don't ever want to have to spray it. Because when parents come here and it's like, but my son has such bad asthma. And it's like, but once you take that plume of food off of the wheat, oats, or rice, you have nothing left but carbon. And it takes nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, and water for decomposition to happen. And if you're missing any and all of those things, or one of those things, it's not going to decompose. So this is all carbon, and it cannot go away.
Wow.
So it stays stacked. And the one other method called this is post and beam. The other one is called Nebraska style. They just stack all the bales up, put the roof structure on, and they're done. Because they don't have rain, they don't have the heavy winds, they don't have any of that stuff that they need to protect from. So there's Nebraska style post and beam. This is post and beam. And as I said, the cost may be a little bit more.
in Arizona.
Huh?
We watched a building of one in Arizona.
Right, yes. Well, the whole state of Arizona, all of Nebraska, all of New Mexico,
Utah.
all of Utah, they all have building codes for straw bale. Dripping Springs has a code for building straw bale, and so does Spicewood. They have a building code. So the very first house I built was around the Spicewood area. The next one was around Anderson. And that's where I used the gunite the first time. And I put it on very thick, way too thick. And it just dripped or slid down the walls. And so it would slide down, and then we had these bells at the bottom. But they loved it. They said, they called me back to build another room on. And I said, well, what are you going to do about this? They said, we want it exactly the same way. So they loved
You
it.
just give it a famous name and
Flintstones. To me, that's what it looks like, is the Flintstones. Anyway, so does anybody have any questions so far? Yes.
So you said you started in the 90s. Do you have background in architecture, or how did that begun, and how did you learn?
My undergraduate work was in art. And so with art history, and then to satisfy my parents, I got a teacher's certificate. And when you do that, you have to get a little bit of drafting and watercolor and clay and metal and wool and fibers and all that. So I had that experience, but nothing like this at all.
So you learned it on your own?
I
Did you
was a
apprentice?
therapist. I was a therapist, a psychotherapist for a private practice for 4 years. But I was terrible. I was just really bad at it. And I could not win, had a bad day, and I referred everybody out. And I was like, what in the world am I going to do now? And so I started renovating the house I was living on in the Montrose area. And when I finished that, I bought another house and turned it into office space. And that just kept going, and to where I built 24 straw bale houses. But I put in MRI units and all that. But I also hired people that had more experience than I did, like framers and people that I knew I needed.
And is this your whole story? Is it available online that we can look it up and share with people?
What?
Just your story of the house.
no.
And
Now you can, right here.
well, you need to write this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a big interest right now for more, I don't know, toxic-free homes.
Organic structures.
I've heard of that term being used around the internet.
I just think that there's more interest for a holistic way of living.
Right, yeah.
And I think using food as your medicine.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think there's
a lot of
big-
homesteading.
Yeah, a lot of, and I think people are, like my mom would go to the doctor, it's like, just, you don't have to tell me what's wrong, just give me a pill and
Right.
I'll take it. But she
Right.
didn't care about it, she didn't ask questions about why is this happening, how can I prevent it?
How
That's
can I
all
not take this
yeah.
medicine?
Or the root cause, so I
Right.
can go to
Right.
that and not just slap a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that was my mom, and that's not who
Right.
I am at all.
Right.
So how do I solve this?
Right.
And there's more and more interest in that. So I'm right now just beginning to put together a small group of people to create a food as medicine
Right.
journey or workshop,
Yeah.
whatever.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So any other questions? No? Okay. So are you all ready to go walk? Or would you rather not walk or what? To walk? Okay.
Thank
so-
you, Kat.
Oh, you're welcome. Drink rainwater. I mean, that's all they ever used to drink. I mean, it just would go down into a cistern underground, they'd pump it up, that was their water. Nobody ever worried about, cleaning it or
You need to
anything
worry
like
about
that.
city water and all the
Right.
fluoride and all the, yes.
Right, so if you're making the compost tea, you need to put the compost tea in your little vat and spin it for 24 hours in the city so that it can release all the chlorines that would be in the water. And then once it's been spinning for 24 hours, then you can add your ingredients, like your blackstrap molasses and your kelp and your seaweed and your starter and all that. And then but that's how we feed everything. We make it every day, we spread it out every day. We start here and we water as long as it'll go, and then we make more, and the next day we start here and we water, and the next day we make more, we start here, and then we come back and start all over again. But we're constantly watering. Yes.
So that's that green tea that you're constantly watering?
Compost.
Compost,
tea,
that's
yes.
your water
Yes.
for the plants.
But it's not all of it, but it's a big part of it, yes. Yes.
So the rainwater that you're collecting,
Uh-huh.
is it for the yard or is it also for the house?
It's in this house and it's in that whole building over there. So all the food that you guys ate, it's all made with rainwater. And we have better success with our germination of seeds in the potting shed, bless you, in the potting shed when we use rainwater.
It has nitrogen in it.
Huh?
Also has nitrogen in it.
Yes. Okay, so let's go out this way.